Can't nobody tell me no, no, no. And they ain't gotta love you, long as you just love you, you gon' be alright on your own. Straight off the dome.
Off the dome, that's who we are, and that's where we're coming from, the Radio House. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, your favorite sports podcast, where two sports lovers sit and give their hot takes. Off the dome. I am Bryce, also known as Redfish. Had to throw that one in there.
And I'm Byron, also known as Mustang.
Shout out Mustang. And that intro song came from a man named Ezzy, E-Z-Z-I on Spotify. Go ahead, give him a listen. That song is called Off the Dome. If you're listening in right now on newrockradio.us, we want to thank you for not only listening to the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, but also listen to New Rock Radio at any time, 24/7. You can hear the best rock music, classic rock, new rock, as well as some local bands. Just like we're going to talk about in just a second. If you're listening in on there, you can also watch live on any Radio House Studios platform. That's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, Radio House Studios. You can be watching us live, saying hi to the camera.
Hello, camera.
You can also follow our accounts on Facebook and YouTube, Off the Dome Sports Podcast, as well as on Twitter, _Dome Pod. So like I was saying with New Rock Radio, some fun stuff coming up very soon. First of all, want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas since we haven't seen y'all. Hope everybody enjoyed the holidays and stayed safe. Stayed warm as well. It was cold.
Yeah.
But some more holidays are coming up soon with New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And for those holidays, newrockradio.us will be playing nonstop new rock from local New Orleans bands. It's a really great opportunity from some New Orleans bands, New Orleans artists to get their name out there and you hear their music. The music is awesome. You're going to want to listen to it. So that's all day on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, starting at 7 p.m. on December the 31st, and not nonstop until midnight on January 1st. So, you know.
Yeah, you're having a New Year's Eve party. You got, some people at your house. Throw on New Rock Radio.
Yeah. Rolling in the new year with some friends of the studio like Silverdose, She Might Be a Beast, Drab, and Damn Self. People who you will see, have seen in here, may see again if they've already been here. Some great local bands. You'll definitely want to check them out. So newrockradio.us, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Make sure to listen in on newrockradio.us. We also want to thank Petra Restaurant and Lounge right there for you. Petra is the best dining experience in the area. Daily specials, fantastic atmosphere. Also got a great lounge area with the area's biggest wine selection, if that's your thing. They've got some great food, a great menu, and also do some great catering. So make sure to check them out. You can go into Petra, 1036 West Airline Highway, or give them a call to set up some catering at 985-359-8888. Now, on to the sports.
Oh, no.
Hey, it was a good weekend, man.
Yeah.
The Saints got a win again.
Not for betting purposes, but...
Oh, no, betting was bad. Betting was real bad. But we're not going to talk about that right now.
Christmas
we're going to talk...
was not kind.
Christmas was kind to the clothing department.
Yeah, the clothing
That's where
department.
I get this jersey from, Harold Perkins. Christmas was kind to the family department. Got to see some family. That was great.
The food department.
The food department.
Great.
Oh, love me some good food.
Excellent.
But you know what it wasn't a fan of? FanDuel account.
Yeah, or my work schedule.
That's neither here nor there. But it was a fan of the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
The Saints got a win on Christmas Eve against the Cleveland Browns in what some would call a barn burner. 17-10 in negative 9-degree weather. Oof. But, hey, the Saints are racking up wins. 2 wins in a row, 3 out of our last 5. It's still possible for us to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it'd take a lot, but...
I mean, I don't love it. I don't want to see this team in the playoffs because all they're going to do is disappoint you. Because you're like, oh, yes, we're a 4th seed. We're going to host a home game. And then we'll be taking on the 13-4 Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And they'll beat us by 60.
Yeah, a lot of teams in this situation would, like to miss the playoffs if it's to get a better draft pick. obviously, but since we don't have a draft pick, what's the upside here?
We have nothing to lose either way. So, I mean, I guess just do whatever you want. I don't know. We don't have a draft pick, so there's no point in missing the playoffs, but do you really want to go on national television and get stomped in the playoffs?
I mean, they do it every week.
Yeah, that's fair. Except for this week. I mean, did you see the quarterback battle on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, the wind was blowing really hard.
Absolute quarterback battle. I mean, just couldn't ask for a better game out of our quarterbacks. Andy Dalton, 8 for 15 for 92 yards and a pick. Deshaun Watson on the other side, 15 for 31, 135 yards and a pick. Man, quarterbacks were on fire.
I mean, I'm going to give him a break.
No, yeah.
Really windy. I mean, I saw some passes. I didn't catch much of the game, but the parts I did see, one part in particular, I saw him throw it was a go route. I think it was to Shaheed. And Dalton threw the ball. Looked like a pretty good ball coming out of his hands. Shaheed turned, was waiting for it in the basket over the shoulder. You could see the wind hit the ball, and it hit him in the back of the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, I know I was being sarcastic for a good minute, 2 minutes there, but I mean, there was no point even trying to throw in that weather. I mean, it felt like -9 degrees, I think they said, with wind chill, and the winds were like 28, 30 miles an hour. There was no point in even trying to throw the ball in that game. Yet, the Browns did it 31 times.
Yeah, I think we learned with only 15 pass attempts, they had over double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there was no point. But that being said, both running backs on both sides had a really good day. And, I mean, as they should, they're two of the best running backs in the league when you look at it. Alvin Kamara had 20 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. That's what happens when you put the ball in Kamara's hands. Averages almost 4 yards a carry, gets you a score. Nick Chubb didn't have a score, but he had 24 carries for 92 yards. He was inching up on 100 yards there. So, giving the running backs the ball in bad weather seemed to, fit the stereotype that it always does. It's how you play football.
I mean, if you look back to last year, the Bills went into New England. Bills were, favored by a lot in that game. New England wasn't up to standards, kind of like this year. And New England won because they only attempted to throw the ball twice that whole game.
Yeah, I mean, it's snowy, it's icy, it's nasty weather. You just hand the ball off 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Old school football.
Cloud of snow.
Cloud of snow. Cleveland was actually up 10-0 at one point in the second quarter. ESPN was giving them a 82% chance to win the game. And then from then on out, really didn't do anything. The Saints didn't dominate or anything. Like they didn't play this fantastic game in the second half where they were like throwing the ball over the yard and running it down their throats or whatever. But they did what they needed to do to win.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
They capitalized on opportunities. Daniel Sorensen got a pick in the fourth quarter that kind of iced it for him. Which, if you would have told me Daniel Sorensen would be getting a pick for the Saints in a crucial moment in a Week 15 game, I would have been like, dude, shut up. But hey, here we are.
Got a comment from Soundman, said, in regards to Christmas, it was good in the Grinch department.
Oh, it was great in the Grinch department. Shout out Soundman for reminding me that I was the Grinch for Christmas. I dressed up as the Grinch 3 times this Christmas. Once for a TikTok on LSU's campus. I don't think my supervisor was very happy with me. It took me an hour and a half to film that TikTok. On Christmas Eve, when I went to my mom's side of the family's house, don't have any pictures of me outside the Grinch costume. Not any. I was
committed to the role.
Yeah, I was committed to the bit. And then same thing at my dad's side on Christmas Day. Another day full of Grinchmas, So
hey, if I didn't have work, I would have been there with you as a Buddy the Elf.
Oh.
Next year.
Nah, I've got plans for next year. Don't you worry. We'll talk about it. I don't want to spoil the surprise. When we're don't worry. Next year, when we're sitting in these seats around Christmas time, and you see us in costume, you'll know what's going on.
Okay. I'm with y'all on this one. I have no clue what he's talking about.
Neither do I. Back to the Saints. Taysom Hill once again made a difference on the offensive side of the ball. I hate saying it because, I've been a hater of Taysom Hill at times because I think he got paid way too much money. But He's effective, man.
Yeah, especially this year when we started allowing him to pass the ball. Now defenses are kind of back to that phase one when he first came on. They didn't know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of seeing that again where they're like, oh, it could be power to the right, but he also could throw a deep bomb to Shaheed again.
Yeah, I think the reason I kind of fell out of love with him, because everybody loved him when he first came on for the Saints.
Oh, yeah. So explosive.
There was no problem. There was no reason to hate him. I think the reason I fell out of love with him is because he was
figure him out.
Well, yeah, not only that, but we started using him incorrectly. We didn't use him as much. He was getting paid tons of money. We were trying to throw him in as a full-time quarterback. Like, there was just so much going on with him that I didn't think was working. But right now, what we're doing with him is kind of back to how we were originally using him, and it's working perfectly. For example, he had 9 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown on Saturday. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Averaging over 6 yards a carry, he gets you a score. That was the score that put us up 17-10, and then we didn't lose the lead from there. And a big part of not losing that lead is the defense. The defense is on an absolute heater right now. I know it was cold, but they was hot.
Yeah, Alontae Taylor. Once again, I've said his name so many times on here, but once again stood out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we first drafted him, I was like, why are we drafting a corner this early? We have Marshawn, we have Bradley Roby, we just drafted Paulson Adebo last year. Like, what are we doing? It's working.
Yeah.
I
had faith in him from the beginning.
No, yeah, I thought he was a great player. I just didn't understand why the Saints took him. Like, I knew he was going to be a good player on the NFL level. It was just like, why us? But I'm glad we did now.
Yeah,
you know, with Marshawn being out with these ghost injuries, like, I don't know. Is he dead? We don't know. Okay, you can't say that on air, but I just did. Anyway, defense is on an absolute roll right now. 6 weeks in a row, we've allowed 20 or less. 4 weeks in a row, less than 20. So, I mean, you can't ask for a much better defense than this right now. We're playing phenomenal, and we're going to have our biggest challenge of the year next week. Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be rough. I mean, they didn't even have Jalen Hurts this week, who is arguably top 3 in MVP race right now, and they put up 34 points.
Yeah, against the Cowboys defense, too.
Yeah, and, well, you know, that's what happens when you have Minshew Mania as your backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Gardner, listen, I don't want to get on a rant about Gardner Minshew. Well, that's not even debatable. Gardner Minshew could start.
Brock Purdy.
Gardner Minshew could start for 10 different NFL teams right now.
Yeah, the Saints are one of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's a backup in Philly. He's a backup on a Super Bowl caliber team, and he could start on 10 other teams. That just proves to you not only how good Philly is, but how good Gardner Minshew is. Shout out Gardner Minshew. I love me some Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, throwing it back to the Saints, we really needed Philadelphia to win.
Yes, we did.
Which would have allowed Philly to get the 1 seed, you know, coming up. Playing New Orleans next. Mm-hmm. They kind of would have taken foot off the pedal a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
you already got the 1 seed clinch. You don't need to win any more games.
Right, because, I mean, Jalen was out due to an injury. If you clinch up the 1st seed, Jalen doesn't play for the rest of the year. No. There's no point.
No. And then a lot of your starters probably will.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably play
reps.
Yeah, you'll probably play your starters for a little bit just to keep them in shape, and then, you know, take them out in the second half. Like, almost treat it like a preseason game. Like, you're warming up for the playoffs, basically. Because if you clinch the 1 seed, what else is there to do?
Yeah. And you're just risking your own players to get injured.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Philly didn't win. Dallas won, which means Philly did not lock up that 1 seed yet.
No. So now they're going to be out for blood.
Yeah, and not only did they not lock up the 1 seed, they didn't lock their division with a loss to Dallas, who has the second best record in the NFC, but they're the 5th seed right now because they're in the same division as the number 1 seed. So, you know, those 2 teams are battling it out. Really wished Philly would have pulled that one out just to help out the Saints, which, you know, ends up being their next opponent. Funny how the NFL works. Shoes very good. I mean, he threw 335 yards and 3 touchdowns in that Cowboys game. He's a damn good quarterback.
Yeah,
and that also speaks to the depth of the Eagles. So I don't like the Saints' chances against the Eagles. However, if we do win, and then we win the last week, and somehow
we would also need Tampa Bay to lose
Both
This
very
week
nice
to
games.
the Panthers, and the following week
Which
to the Falcons.
Panthers are hot, coming off a big defeat of my Detroit Lions. Oh, that killed me.
30-point game.
Bro, if the Lions would have won that game, they'd be sitting pretty in the playoff race right now. They would be the 7th seed as of right now if the Lions had won that game. Instead, they're the outside looking in. However, they could still make it, so don't be hating on my Lions.
Did you hear Dan Campbell after the game?
No, I didn't have the heart.
He walked up to how the coaches.
Oh, I
mean,
did.
yeah.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about right now. Yes, I did see that.
It just shows his character some more.
Yeah, hey, I'm telling you,
He thanked him.
Culture means a lot in the NFL.
Yeah, for those of y'all that didn't see, he walked up. The coaches meet after the game. They're usually the first people to meet, come to midfield.
Quick little handshake at the 50-yard line.
And he thanked Panthers head coach, interim
Steve Wilkes.
head coach, for the butt kicking that they gave him. How we sounding out there?
Buffalo. Are we good? All right.
All right, rocking with it.
Looks like we're back. There was a little audio mix up. Technical difficulties. It happens.
Cold weather.
Can't have everything. But like we were saying, AFC playoff picture. 5 teams have locked it up in the AFC to make their way into the playoffs. We've got the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Los Angeles Chargers. Are any of those teams a surprise to you?
From the beginning of the season, no. But as the season went on, the Chargers, I didn't think they'd make it.
They looked the most mid of any mid.
Yeah.
Like if you would have told me, hey, the Chargers are 16th out of 32 in any category, I would have been like, yep, makes sense. But they locked off a playoff spot. You never know what can happen in the playoffs. So we'll see what the Chargers were my Super Bowl pick before the season started. So I would love for them to make the Super Bowl. It'd make me look smart.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. As for some other teams looking into the playoffs in the AFC, Jags and Titans are battling for the AFC South right now. Jags kind of came out of nowhere, man. They started off the season hot, hit that cold stretch in the middle where it was like, they weren't doing anything in the middle of the season, and now they're heating back up.
Yeah. We also saw the Titans, who have kind of been in that in between stage all year. They had some games that they were great, and they had some games that they were on par. They didn't really have any games that they were subpar until recently when they lost to the Texans.
They've lost, I think, 3 weeks in a row now, 3 or 4 weeks in a row. I mean, they, like you were saying, they were a team that was either playing really well or kind of just like average in the middle. They were never having really bad games because, they sent the Chiefs to overtime even though they lost. They were beating good teams. They were, playing meh against some good teams. They were playing meh against some bad teams. I mean, they were always average to above average, but now they're just completely falling off a cliff, which is very weird to see from a Mike Vrabel team. He's been a very good coach. Won Coach of the Year last year.
But yeah, Jags, Titans battling out for the AFC South, which is a very bad. It might be worse than the NFC South.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think both the Souths.
Both the Souths turned into both the Easts.
Yeah. Yeah. The AFC South and the NFC South both. I don't know if any team can make it out of the first round of the playoffs.
If they had it set up differently to where it was kind of just like the best teams in each conference,
yeah,
none of the South teams would make it.
No, not at all. But that being said, not this upcoming week of the NFL, but next week, the Jags and the Titans will be taking each other on in Week 18, and the winner of that game goes to the playoffs. It doesn't even matter what happens this week between the two teams. The winner of that game will clinch the number 4 seed to bring them into the playoffs and host a home game against one of the wild card teams, which is either going to be the Ravens, the Chargers, or one of the following 3 teams that are battling it out for that 7th seed with the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Jets. Who are you looking at to make that run?
Dolphins.
Yeah, I think so too. 2 is in concussion protocol right now, but
However, I do think that one of the teams out of the AFC East will make it
all the way.
because there's all 3 of those teams are from the AFC East.
Oh, jeez, this guy. He thinks he's so funny. But yeah, I agree. An AFC East team will make the wild card. I think I can confirm that as well. Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, one of those 3 teams is going to lock up that 7th seed most likely. I would say the Dolphins, I mean, they're 8-7 right now. The other 2 teams are 7-8, so they already have that one game on them. Although 2 is in concussion protocol, I think the Dolphins have the most talent on their team.
Yeah.
They can pull out the most wins. Teddy Bridgewater's their backup, and he's not bad by any means.
Teddy Two Gloves.
He's a solid backup quarterback. He'll get you a win if you need one.
Isn't he still undefeated as a Saint starting quarterback?
He was undefeated as a Saints starting quarterback. I think he went 5-0. So, maybe he'll have that same magic down in Miami.
I mean, when Tua's healthy in Miami, they're kind of looking unbeatable.
Yeah, and it sucks for Tua. I hate that Tua keeps getting concussions or weird little rib injuries, back injuries, thumb injuries, whatever he's getting. It sucks because when Tua's healthy and the Dolphins are full go,
They're good.
they were beating they had foot on the gas pedal, beating the absolute poop out of teams. The poop, man. They were doing what the Rams did to the Broncos and beating them 51-14. Like that's what the Dolphins were doing with
Baker
a fully
Magic.
fully healthy Tua. Baker Magic indeed. Hey, shout out to the Rams, I guess. But over on the NFC side, we have 4 teams who have locked up. We've got the Eagles, the Vikings, the 49ers, and the Cowboys. Those first 3 teams were me, you, and Rebo's picks out of the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. So,
Look
hey,
at us.
we look pretty good right now.
Just don't look at our AFC teams.
My AFC team is in the playoffs. His AFC team is in the playoffs. Your AFC team is like a top 10 pick right now. But, hey, it happens.
Who was Reese's AFC team?
We both had the Chargers. You had the Broncos.
So y'all just got in.
Yeah, we barely. Hey, all you need to do is get in the dance, baby. But yeah, Eagles, Vikings, 49ers, and Cowboys are the 4 teams who have locked up. If the season ended today, those last 3 teams would be the Bucks, the Giants, and the Commanders. So the entire NFC East would be in the playoffs.
So it might happen. You might have.
I might have called something. Just the wrong
division.
Wrong division, wrong conference. But I might have called it that this will be the first year that an entire division makes the playoffs.
Who would have thought it'd be the NFC East?
If you would have told me, hey, rank the 8 divisions on most likely for all 4 teams to make the playoffs, NFC East would have been bottom 2 for sure.
Yeah, probably
because they were
NFC
called the
East,
NFC least,
and then the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean NFC South would have been down there too because there's no way the Falcons would have made the playoffs in my mind. So like, yeah, NFC least to NFC beast.
Yeah,
that's this year's little thing for me. But other than those teams, we've also got the Seahawks, Lions, and Packers, who could make their way in for that 7th seed. If the Giants win this week, they'll lock up a playoff spot. The Commanders are kind of fighting for it. They're in as of right now, but if things don't fall their way, Packers, Lions, and Seahawks could make it in for that 7th seed. So, assuming that the Bucks win the NFC South, which I think we can kind of do at this point, although the Saints aren't out of it, I'm assuming the Bucks are going to win the NFC South. Even if they lose to Carolina next week, I don't think they'll lose to Atlanta. So they'll win it. But, let's say Eagles, Vikings, 49ers, Cowboys, Bucks, and Giants all make it into the playoffs. You've got the 7th seed with the Seahawks, Lions, Packers, and Commanders. Who do you think is going to make it in over these last 2 weeks of the season?
On the NFC side, the Packers are on a heater.
They are. They have won 3 in a row. Aaron Rodgers looks really good. They just beat the Dolphins on Christmas morning. So, and they were bad at one point in the season.
Yeah.
They were down bad, but they got hot at the right time, so they could make it in. Is that your pick?
I think it will be my pick for the NFC. The Packers making it in. Funny story about the game on Christmas. Soundman had a bet. Took the Packers money line and the over, which was 49.5.
Mm-hmm.
Final score was 26-23.
Oh,
Packers won. But it was
Missed it
right
by
at
half a point.
49.
that sucks, man. Oh, I hate that for him. I don't think the Packers are going to make it because they play the Vikings this week. They would have to win out to make it. I think the Vikings are going to win, so the Packers are not going to make it in my mind. Seahawks have been looking very, very bad recently, so I don't think I can count on them. So for me, it comes down to the Commanders and the Lions. Immediately want to say the Lions just because of how I've been with them all season. Everybody knows it. And in my opinion, the Lions have the easiest remaining schedule. It just makes sense because so for me it came down to Commanders and Lions, right? If we're looking at the Commander schedule, they play 2 home games, so that looks good, but they're against the Browns and the Cowboys. Browns aren't great, so they can beat the Browns. But if the Cowboys are still fighting for the NFC East in the last week, there's no way they lose that game. So it looks bad there. Lions play the Bears and the Packers. Now, the Packers is going to be a good game. But if the Packers lose next week and they're out of playoff contention, they don't have as much to fight for as the Lions do.
This is true.
So, give me the Lions, bro.
Who plays first? Like,
What do you mean?
Packers, Vikings, and then Lions, Bears. Oh, my, but who plays first?
Oh, my, he said.
Because if the Lions and Bears
let me
play
see.
first,
Let me see.
and the Lions lose that game, Packers could still
Yeah.
it'd still be a fight.
Yeah, I'm going to see real quick. Let me see who's playing first. I don't know that off the top of my head. That is
We're
a
getting in
question.
depth now.
Yeah, that was never a question. Lions play first at 12.
Oh no!
And then the Vikings Packers at 3:30. So, I mean, listen, I think the Lions are going to win out. Whatever happens, happens. Give me the Lions to make the playoffs, though, as the 7th seed. If the Lions make the playoffs, I'm going to be so... Dude, nobody was going to want to be around me. You will not, well, you already don't, but you will definitely not want to be around me if the Lions make the playoffs. I will be the biggest I called it of all time. But anyway,
Ridiculous.
that's what the playoffs are looking like right now. In your brain, you can go through all the scenarios: who's going to get what seed, who's going to play where, all that kind of stuff.
There's countless scenarios.
Yeah, but end of the day, if you had to pick your 2 teams for the Super Bowl right now, who are you taking out of each conference?
Super Bowl matchup. I'm going to take the Niners.
They're hot. Their defense looks incredible.
Niners out of the NFC. And out of the AFC, I'm really kind of torn between 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Bills, Chiefs, Bengals. Same 3 teams that were the top contenders last year, really.
Yeah.
I think this is the year the Bills finally get past the Chiefs, even if they don't play them. They probably will, but I think they finally can get past them this year.
That's fair. I like the Bills as well. I don't have them going to the Super Bowl, but they would be my second choice. I think they're gonna play the Chiefs in the divisional round and finally take them. It's gonna be the 3rd year in a row we see that matchup. I think the Bills can finally win it. I think they have what it takes. However,
well, they would be playing in Buffalo this time.
true, because
Not
the
an Arrowhead.
Bills are going to be Bills are most likely going to be the number 1 seed if they continue what they've been doing. So I don't have the Bills making the Super Bowl. I have the Bengals instead. They are hot right now, and kind of like in baseball where we're like the hottest team has the advantage. It might carry over for the NFL as well. Cincinnati has been playing lights out, and they haven't been healthy. You haven't seen a full healthy game from Cincinnati, I feel like, and yet they're still winning every game they play. Either Joe Mixon's out, T. Higgins is out, Jamar Chase is out, Trey Hendrickson's out, Sam Hubbard's out. It doesn't matter. They're missing somebody, and yet they still find a way to win. So I'm going to take the Bengals to make it out of the AFC. And in the NFC, I know they just lost, but that game came down to the wire, and they were missing their best player. I'm going to take the Eagles. I know it's an easy pick. I picked them before the season. I'm still going to pick them now. They just look so darn good.
Yeah, I'm kind of sticking with the 49ers since they were my pick at the beginning of the season. Even though all they're on their third quarterback this season. Trey Lance went out early. Jimmy G picked up the slack, did very well. He's out. Now down to Brock Purdy.
And he's a dog.
He has been playing lights out. I didn't have faith in him at first.
As you shouldn't. I mean, he was the literal last pick of the NFL draft.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant. You know who else was the last pick of the NFL draft? Tom Brady.
No, he wasn't.
Close.
He was picked one. He was 6th round.
Same round.
Still,
yeah.
Well, still low. Stretchy than Mr. Fantastic right now.
Let it happen. So anyway, but we're talking about regular season. Brock Purdy been doing well, but it's still the regular season. Playoffs, whole different atmosphere, whole different animal. Do you think he can continue doing what he's doing in the playoffs?
No. Playoff football is different, bro. We see it every year. Like, you can see a team who in the regular season is an absolute offensive powerhouse. They'll score 38 points a game. Then they'll go into the playoffs, play a team who may not even have that great of a defense, and put up 20 points. Playoffs are different. Stuff happens. The moment gets too big for some people. And I'm not saying Brock Purdy can't do it because he's been playing really well, but I just don't trust a rookie 7th-round quarterback leading you to a Super Bowl, especially if you don't have a bye week.
Especially if they only played half a season.
Yeah, it's just... I think the 49ers defense is good enough to lead them to the Super Bowl. I don't know if the quarterback play is there. But you never know.
Well, they might get Trey Lance back if they make it far enough in the playoffs.
Trey Lance, probably not, but Jimmy G definitely. Jimmy G said he might be healthy for the divisional round.
Oh. That changes everything.
Yeah.
49ers all the way.
Okay. Moving out from the NFL to some college football. We're going to talk about LSU for a quick second.
We're going to talk about some cheese first.
Some cheese. January 2nd, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. LSU taking on Purdue. They are currently 14.5-point favorites. Now, you may be saying, why are we so heavily favored in a game against a team that made their conference championship? Well, Purdue's only 8-5, so they're not fantastic. Also, they're going to be missing 4 of their 8 best players. QB1 Aiden McDonald is out. Wide receiver 1 is out. Tight end 1 is out. Cornerback 1 is out.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all foregoing the bowl game and going to the NFL draft or injured or whatever the case may be. LSU has no reason to lose this game. Our offense averages more points, and they're going to have less weapons. Our defense averages less points allowed, and they're going to be missing some weapons. Everything's adding up for LSU to win this game. That being said, we'll have to be careful because that's typically how stuff goes.
Yeah, fall into the trap game.
Yeah, and then, I talked about Purdue missing some guys. LSU, the only guy they're supposed to be missing is Allie Gay. Even the guys who were going into the draft, other than him, said they're probably going to play in the bowl game. It's looking good for LSU in this bowl game. Are you expecting us to win?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Purdue started off the season hot.
Mm-hmm.
Then they kind of fell off once, they started playing better opponents. And then once they got to conference play, they kind of just really fell off. They made their conference championship in somewhat of the same fashion that LSU did, in that their side of the division was kind of lackluster, and the other side, not so much.
Yeah, because the problem with the Big Ten is Michigan and Ohio State's in the same division.
Yeah.
Only one of them can make it. So the other side, you're going to get a Purdue. You're going to get a Nebraska. You're not going to get a big team. Because And not only that, but Penn State's on the same side as Michigan and Ohio State. So you're only going to get your best 3 teams in the conference. Only one of them is going to make the conference championship. So in my opinion, they need to change that. But I guess we'll see. You know, Purdue did hold it to Michigan for the first 3 quarters. They played really well, and then in the fourth quarter, Michigan came up and, you know, they got what was coming to them. But you know, we'll see how LSU does. Speaking about LSU, I want to talk about signing day in the transfer portal for just a minute. We did really well, in my opinion, as far as people coming back, people coming over. Jaden Daniels said he's coming back. Kayshon Boutte said he's coming back. And Josh Williams said he's coming back. So we got our QB1 back, our wide receiver 1 back, and our running back 1 back.
Well, he's going to have to play better to be considered wide receiver 1 in my mind.
Right. Well, yeah, I agree. Play-wise, he will have to play better. But name-wise, he's going to be the first on your depth chart. Just because you know what he can do. Especially what we saw from him in his freshman season. So, you know, our offense is coming back. It's going to be another year under Brian Kelly. And then I'm going to go over just a couple names that we got on signing day and in the transfer portal just to give the people a little heads up to what to be looking at for next season. The number 1 rated player in the transfer portal was cornerback Denver Harris. I mentioned him before, and we did get him. Got Denver Harris from Texas A&M, 5-star coming out of high school. Was a All-American last year as a freshman, and he'll be coming on over to Baton Rouge. We also got 4 more 5-star recruits. Those are high school players that will be coming in as freshmen next season. We got an O-lineman, a D-lineman, a corner, and a wide receiver. So all over the field, skill positions as well as in the trenches. Shelton Sampson is kind of the guy I'm looking at. 6'4" receiver out of Catholic. I mean, gosh, our receiver room is going to be loaded. It's going to be hard for everybody to get the PT they deserve.
DB room.
Yeah. I mean, DB's got a lot better like that. It's going to be a fun one. Aaron Anderson was a guy who went to Bama. He was a really, really good high school player in Louisiana. We didn't land him as a freshman. Went to Bama for a year, and then he transferred back home to Baton Rouge. Another receiver. He's very electric. I expect him to immediately step in and take over the return duties.
Yeah.
5'9", 185, I think. Yeah.
Built for speed.
And he's fast, he's agile, and he makes some great plays. And then we landed some more defensive linemen in the transfer portal on the first day. The guy out of Oregon, I think. Trying to remember his name here. Braden Swinson. There he is. He is going to step in and take that Ali Gay role of like that D end who can either push inside and stop the run or rush the passer. I've heard big things about him, hoping he comes out and plays really, really well. And then we've got tons of other guys too. Trey Holly, who set the record for most rushing yards as a Louisiana high school athlete, is coming to LSU as well. Kamorian Pimpton was our last guy who he was a Vanderbilt commit. He signed with us, and we flipped him. Great tight end, 6'6", kind of built like Kyle Pitts.
What have you heard about that transfer from West Virginia? Jordan Jefferson.
So, yeah, Jordan Jefferson, not to be confused with quarterback Jordan Jefferson, who played for LSU. Stop the run, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of Louisiana guys, which I think is really important for us. I think I really like what LSU did as far as recruiting goes, both high school and in the transfer portal. Early expectations for next season. Way too early expectations for next season.
Too early.
What are you thinking? Like just off the dome. That's what we do here.
I'm thinking kind of a similar season as this one, except we're going to start off hotter. So, better, obviously. Mm-hmm. What do we finish this?
Right now, we are 9-4 with a loss in the SEC championship. We went 9-3 in the regular season.
I'm going to go 10 wins.
So if we win our
regular
bowl game,
season, 10 wins.
Yeah, I was going to say if we win our bowl game, we'll be 10-4. So say next year we play 14 games again. Like the playoff system's going to be different, so we don't know how many games we're going to play. But let's just say on a 14 scale basis,
12-2.
12-2. I could see that as well. I think we'll be better.
Obviously, there's always the chance we lose to Bama.
Yeah, Bama's always going to be.
Other than that, on our side of the SEC, I think we beat all the other teams.
Hopefully, we can beat A&M because they. Oh gosh.
See, the loss to Bama's kicking.
Bama, yeah. I mean, Bama's like the only one that every year before the season, I'm like, we can count one loss because it's either going to be Bama, Auburn, or Florida. Like, we always seem to drop one of those games. I mean, other than our national championship season. But even if Auburn's not good, they give us a battle every time. We always battle Alabama. And then Florida's arguably one of our biggest rivals in the SEC.
Yeah.
So,
kind of really the only one I'm worried about. I think Florida's going to get a little worse. Auburn, same thing, get a little worse. But on the other side of the SEC, I think Georgia's going to still be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
South Carolina's going to get better.
Tennessee's still a weapon.
Tennessee's going to get better, I think.
Really?
Yes.
Even with losing. In the SEC championship. So, I mean, I don't think there's a reason. Let's put it like this. I see us making it back to Atlanta next year.
Yes. Yeah.
With what we did this year, with the weapons we had and the problems we had, a whole offseason under Brian Kelly to really get his system in, I see us making it back to SEC championship next year. Just way too early expectations based off of the recruits we have, the guys we got in the transfer portal, the chemistry we'll have back. We're not really losing too much. I like this LSU team looking forward. College football playoff in general, Georgia versus Ohio State, Michigan versus TCU. We already talked about it a little bit, but let's lock in our answers now. Who do you think takes each of those games?
So first one, Georgia, Ohio State. Give me Georgia.
I agree.
I just think they're with these four teams. I think they're kind of like a step above the others because Georgia's really good on both sides of the ball. The other three are kind of, their offense would be really good, but their defense is kind of shaky or vice versa. And I think Georgia's just got that real solid on both sides of the ball kind of team.
They got that dog in them. I like Georgia, too. I mean, we thought they were good last year, and they're even better this year. And they easily won the national championship last season, so I could easily see them doing it again. Yeah. But I definitely got them to beat Ohio State. Second game, Michigan versus TCU. The more I think about this game, the closer I think it's going to be. At first, I was leaning with Michigan. I was like, man, Michigan's going to win. Michigan's going to win. Michigan's really good. But the more I watch, I don't know why, but the closer it gets, I'm like, man, TCU really might have a shot. I think it's just because I want TCU to win.
It's just that playoff feel. I also want them to win.
However, that underdog mentality, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I also want them to win. Because, TCU going to the national championship? What?
Yeah.
But I do think Michigan has the edge over them.
Mm-hmm.
I just think their defense is a little bit better than TCU's defense.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that really kind of gives them the edge for me. So I think it'll be Georgia, Michigan in the Natty with Georgia taking it all. I
realistically see Michigan winning, but just for the sake of being different and for the sake of seeing what I want, I'm going to go TCU to win. You got
to
Max Duggan.
Oh yeah, he's him.
If Caleb Williams wouldn't have been so good to end the year, I know they had that loss to Utah, but if he wouldn't have just put up consistent numbers every single week, I think Max Duggan would have came away with the Heisman, just because he had a very couple games where he missed some stuff, like in that Baylor game when they almost lost.
Yeah, or then when The
lost to
Kansas State.
Well, the thing is like he still had a great game
Yeah.
that game. He took off for like 80 yards in overtime.
But a loss counts for a lot.
Yeah, so I think Max Duggan was right on the cusp of winning the Heisman. I really like him. I like he has an edge to him. I like that he definitely has the capability to take off and run on you, and not only fast, but he's got power on him. I just really like that TCU offense, and I think in the playoffs here, they'll be able to pop off one random play where you're like, is TCU going to win this thing? And then ride the momentum. I'm going to take them to beat Michigan in a very high-scoring game. Just because I said that, it's going to be like 17-10 or something. But I
two
think,
real explosive offenses.
yeah, I think TCU can take it. So I've got Georgia versus TCU in the national championship, and then that's where TCU's Cinderella run will end. I think Georgia's going to win the Natty.
Going a little off track here. Max Duggan. I like him a lot. I know you like him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Excluding the Saints,
Yeah.
where would you like to see him play?
Oh, good question.
Where would you like to see him, and where do you think he'll go?
Okay. Where would I like to see him? With his attitude and his capability to take off outside the pocket, I'd like to see it go to a young team. And in my mind, immediately I go to the Jets.
That's a
First thing in my mind is see Max Duggan on the Jets. It makes sense because everybody on that team was young. Garrett Wilson's your starting wide receiver. I mean, they already said they're moving on from Zach Wilson, basically.
Yeah.
So you've got Mike White starting. I don't think that's sustainable for a team that's about to make the may make the playoffs.
Joe Flacco might quit football this year.
Yeah, I mean, Breece Hall is going to be coming back from an ACL. Team's very good. They still got Elijah Moore over there. Michael Carter. I mean, they've got some good guys on that offense.
Some good young guys.
Yeah, bring in Max Duggan. I think that would be a great fit for him. So that's where I would like him to go. As far as where I think he will go, I don't know if he's a first-round quarterback, just because you've got Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud and Hendon Hooker, who are...
And Caleb Williams.
Well, Caleb Williams is next year's draft.
Oh, yeah.
I think Max Duggan is going in to this year's draft, so he might be like a second-round guy or a late first-round guy. A team takes a shot on him. As far as where I think he will go, that's tough, because, I mean, the quarterback situation right now in the NFL is so strange. So strange. If there's a team picking towards the back half of the draft that need a solid backup quarterback, or their quarterback's getting older but don't have a good backup yet, oh man, you really put me on the spot with this one. I am trying my hardest to think of a team where he may go. Give me... Give me Seattle. I could see Max Duggan going to Seattle. That is my prediction of where he will go. As far as where I want him to go, give me the Jets.
Nice. You know what I could see? If somehow, because I'm pretty sure the Texans will probably take Bryce Young first overall.
First overall, Bryce Young. Who's got the second pick right now?
The Bears.
They won't. I don't think they'll take a quarterback.
They're not gonna take
Who's
a
got the third pick right now?
The Seahawks.
Oh, from Denver. They could go C.J. Stroud. So that changes my Max Duggan pick. Okay, give your analysis. Give me time to think.
So then you got Arizona. They're not going to take a quarterback. Colts could take a quarterback.
Definitely need to take a quarterback, by the way.
If Seattle decides to stick with Geno, which I think they will, they had a lot of success, then I think next in line, who was it? C.J. Stroud to the Colts. Then you got the Falcons.
Falcons have Desmond Ridder. I don't think they'll take a quarterback.
And then you got the Lions.
Yep.
Do they stick with
I think
Jared Goff?
I don't think you can.
Or do they bring in a rookie quarterback to get some experience from Jared Goff, and then a few years down the line?
Now that you say it, I don't know why I didn't think
It's a young
about it.
team, too.
Yeah, that's another young team. DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams is there. Yeah. Ooh. Max Duggan in Detroit, baby. Duggan to Detroit. Detroit Duggan. Oh, okay. You got me. You sold me.
Another team that they're kind of not in the market for a quarterback right at this moment, but you think they'll probably be getting one soon, maybe in this draft. The Raiders.
Yeah.
They might. I could see them moving on from Derek Carr.
I mean, Carolina's a team that's going to need a quarterback.
So
there's a lot of quarterback needs.
The Lions were the team that I'd like him to go to. However, the team I think that he will end up going to,
Mm-hmm.
the Washington Commanders. They have that, mid. They're projected to get the 21st pick.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's a lot of teams. The Patriots might, try and rob somebody and go get them because they're not really happy with Mac Jones. Steelers aren't going to take one.
No, they. Shoot up boards for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I expect him to be a later first round pick, but if he moves into that middle to early first round area, I would love him in Detroit. But Indy is a team you mentioned that I think would make a lot of sense for Max Duggan.
As I'm looking at it right now, I know it's real early, like you said.
But I'm a draft guy. You know how much I love the draft.
Yeah, and so am I. But a lot of these mock drafts so far. Was updated.
He was bad
yesterday.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, maybe I don't know as much as I think I do, but we'll see how it goes when it gets closer.
This one has C.J. Stroud going to the Colts and
Yeah.
Will Levis going to the Seahawks.
Will Levis is going to be a first-round pick because he's Zach Wilson all over again. You look at him and you're like, oh, geez, that boy's got potential, and then he's not going to work out.
And Anthony Richardson to the Bucks.
I don't like Anthony Richardson in the first round. I think that's a bad pick.
I do too. Yeah, those are the only three.
Yeah, like I said, Max Duggan is probably a second-round guy, but I mean, I'd love to see him in a Saints uniform, honestly.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk about something other than football for just a quick second here. We're gonna talk about the Pelicans. Just because I went to the game last night, it was an amazing atmosphere. The Pels, winners of 3 in a row. They are 21-12 and second seed in the West. Last night, I was at the game against the Pacers. Early went down by 12 and then went on a run. Najee Marshall became the GOAT. And we won by 20 points, 113-93. We were up by 27 at one point. And the best part about all that is we were missing 5 of our top 7 players. We were missing Brandon Ingram. We were missing Zion. We were missing Trey. We were missing Herb. And we were missing Dyson Daniels. All of those guys were out.
Quality minutes for all of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're big rotational pieces and starters.
Check my phone.
Check your phone, he says.
Try wrapping it up soon. Cutting out quite a bit.
Okay, well, we'll try our best to get out of here as soon as we can. But yeah, Pels are looking really, really good. Really excited for what they're doing right now. We're second seed right now. I could see it. I mean, we all predicted it before the season, but realistically, I think we finish as the top 4 seed.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you there. I'd even go as far as saying, we win the division.
Yeah, I mean, the only hard part about that is we're the second seed, and the 3 seed is the Memphis Grizzlies. Somebody who shouldn't, and Garrett Temple.
They
But
still win.
and we still win by 20 points.
20 points.
Because you have guys like Najee Marshall who will come out there and give you a career night. You've got Jose who's going to give his all every second he's on the floor. If Jonas is the superstar out there, he's going to give you 25 and 10. So, sorry about it. Flock around and find out. And then I want to wrap this up talking about bets like we always do. We love, to an extent, we love betting.
Yeah. We love making the bets.
We love talking about the bets. we don't actually like putting money and losing it. So first of all, we always do our road dogs for this week. Byron, who is yours?
In a shocking turn of events, I don't know how I got these odds or how this shaped up, but the Vikings going to Green Bay, I got them for +3 for +100.
That's a spread. Having a plus odd makes no sense to me.
Yeah, well, get on it.
Yeah, here we are. Vikings
happens.
+3 at Green Bay. I'm going to bet that as soon as this is over. Mine, for wishful thinking and for heat level, Panthers +3 at Tampa at -110. Panthers are hot. Tampa is not. And I want Tampa to lose. It's all adding up in my brain. Give me the Panthers to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then I've got the NBA. You know, it's kind of taking form right now. We're not quite halfway through the season, but we're getting close.
Like a third.
Yeah. If you had to put money on somebody to win the MVP, who would it be?
Oh. See, I'm looking at yours, and I agree with it a lot.
Yeah.
But for fun's sake, and to be a little different, I'm going to take Giannis. He's out there.
It's funny to say to be a little different and then saying Giannis because he's like the most dominant player in the NBA. But you're right.
I mean, neither of us took the favorite, which is Jason Tatum right now.
He's at +270 to win MVP right now.
Yeah, I'm taking Giannis. He's at +360. He's having one hell of a season too. Along with Jason Tatum and along with Jokic.
Yeah.
Putting up numbers every game. It's going to be. There's going to be a few names in the run-in this year, I think. Yeah,
and I'm going to take one of those names that you just mentioned, Nikola Jokic. It would be a three-peat if he did win it, which is crazy. I never thought in the modern NBA you'd see a three-peat for MVP just because of how much parity there is, but he's so good at everything. Like, he is a walking triple-double as a center. Which is like Russell Westbrook was a walking triple-double as a point guard and the best player on his like the only good player on his team. That makes sense. As a 7-foot center, how are you giving people 26, 12, and 8 a night? Like it's crazy to me. So I'm going to take Jokic. They're the first seed in the West right now. If they continue on their current pace, they'll win the West. And best player on the best team. Jokic might make a three-peat, and he's at +440, so I like the odds on that too. Yeah. So last thing here, absolute last thing. It's going to be quick. We did an interesting little thing here. I love my stupid parlays, and this is the stupidest of stupid. If you parlay a Super Bowl winner, a national champion, and a NBA Finals winner all together, all three teams together, you get huge odds.
Well, yeah.
Who are your three teams, and what are the odds?
I went first in the last two. You're going first.
Shoot, I wanted you to do it first. All right. So if I do all three of mine, I've got the Bengals winning the Super Bowl. I've got Georgia winning the national championship. And I think the Milwaukee Bucks might win the NBA Finals. So preliminary, those are mine right now. Take those three, put them into a parlay to all win their leagues. You get those odds at plus 9,543. So if you think about it, you can bet $10 and win $954.
And 30 cents.
And 30 cents. So, yeah, that's just a stupid little bet, but it's something fun.
Yeah. I mean, go put $1 on it.
Yeah, why not?
$95.
Yeah.
But I got the Niners, Georgia also, and the Celtics. Your Celtics.
My Boston Celtics.
They're hot.
They're good. What are those odds on that one?
Looking at plus 62.69.
Quick little $6,000 if you put $100 on it. Yeah, nothing major, something slight. But yeah, just to end off on a fun note, that's what we wanted to do. Give some bets, give some crazy bets, some easy bets. Talked about football a lot, talked about a little bit of basketball, and that's going to do it for the Off the Dome Sports podcast tonight. However, don't forget that on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, you can tune into newrockradio.us. You'll be hearing local New Orleans rock bands all day long, starting at 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve, all the way through midnight on New Year's Day. You won't want to miss it. Definitely tune in. You're going to hear She Might Be a Beast. You're going to hear Drab. You're going to hear Silverdose. You're going to hear Damn Self. Friends of the studio have been in here, will be in here, may come back again. Definitely listen in to newrockradio.us on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We want to thank newrockradio.us for allowing us this opportunity to get out to the people and talk about sports. I am Bryce.
And I'm Byron.
And this has been the Off the Dome Sports Podcast. We will see you next time.
Straight off the dome. Can y'all quit acting like y'all didn't know? Yeah, took a break, but better hold your nose. Yeah, I've been cooking, don't inhale smoke. Been busy dropping hooks. Peter Pan can't leave his home. Ayy, yeah, I prefer the backseat. I prefer a taxi.